shoulders are going to come forward. Now you're going to cause a habit while they're laying on the ground. And this is my whole thing. While I'm stretching, I want your body in the correct alignment, okay? So, lay back for me. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, bend both knees. All right, so when you're doing this, whatever leg is going to be bent to the floor, that's going to be my stabilizer. I need it to stay in a parallel position, okay? The heel must be in alignment with the sit bones. And you need to watch this. When they start working on this leg is going to start doing this. And you'll feel the hips get off kilter, okay? So that's going to happen. The next thing, I need all of the abs engaged. The abs are to the floor. Tailbone this way, okay? All right, the other thing, every rep that you do, and this took me a while, and I kept on watching, my kids started dancing like this, and I'm going, because I was paying attention more with what's going on in here and how they're pulling the rope. All of a sudden, my kids start dancing like this, and yes, texting does that too, but I started noticing, maybe on the second rep, gravity starts doing this, yes. So every rep I added, I don't even know if I put that in there, but I'm telling you this now. Make them go back and re-support the front and the back of the head, because it's easy for this. And I tell them, I call that effect. It's a face and a neck together, there's no such word. So, yes, okay. So, when we start, put your leg up. The first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pump the muscle. Bend it first so we don't hold it. So, I want her to pump the muscle. Okay, so we're going to start with a flex foot, and we're going to, and I don't want her to, like when we start this, you're barely going to bend it, okay? Now, in this whole process, you're going to think about lengthening the IT band. You're going to lengthen the whole leg so it doesn't, the femur head doesn't come sit down in the socket, okay? So you're going to go, so you're going to start here, and you're going to go 1 and 2 and 3. So we're going to pump it quick. So y'all lay back and try that. Okay? So go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8. Now what I just did, I just got some blood flow coming in there, and you got to make sure that you're breathing, because if the oxygen doesn't come into the muscle, it stops working. Okay. Now the one thing you want to notice, because I'm going fast, you want them to stretch their knees. Okay. So everybody take their leg up, keep it flat, stretch out your knee. I want you to come beside your knee where your IT band hits, and then stretch that more. Do you feel that? Yes, because they like to take their patella back. Now that's messing up their meniscus. So I want that to happen. Does that make sense? Okay, so we pumped it first, 8 counts. Now, you're gonna take the rope, and I want you, don't put it in the arch. I like to put it underneath of the metatarsals, okay? And then you're gonna take this. Okay, now what I want, you're gonna actually grab it with the opposite hand. I want you to take, exactly, because they start letting this hip come up. I want them to think the bottom base of the hip pulls up, the top of this hip pulls down. Does that make sense? Okay, so to help them, I make them keep this hand here so they can help stabilize that, and they can start feeling when they're starting to release that, or maybe when the femur head is starting to jam in, okay? So I'm gonna have her take 2 counts. Other thing you want to watch out for as they go, that they're not lifting this up by pushing this down. Yes? Okay, so what she's going to think of, and I want you to think from coming from here, you're going to go down through here to push, to straighten the leg, to push through here. Now, I don't want you pulling down, okay? So we're going to take 4 counts to stretch it. So come back again. So she's going to go 1, 2, get down here, 3, 4. Now cause some resistance. Pull it just a little bit though. 5, 6, 7, 8, envelope, release, 1, 2, 3, 4, just barely bend it. Now, I make them work harder on the release, okay? So, straighten it out again. So when she does this again, really pull the IT band, pull it all this way, bend it, yes. See how hard you worked? Because if not, when it bends, the femur head's gonna drop back in that socket, okay? And what I've already started them to do, when their legs in a la seconde and you want them to envelope into a passe or arabesque into an attitude, I've already started this habit during my warm-up. Does that make sense? Okay, so try that with the rope for me. So again, I make them take the time. I don't want the rope stretching the leg. I want them to understand, of course, standing up, it's going to come from here. I want them to learn to come from the hamstring. So again, 1, 2, go down the calf, go down the Achilles, 3, 4, pull it to the back wall. But when you pull it to the back wall, tailbone goes more and that gives you your resistance. Does that make sense? And then slightly bend, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, so it's 12 counts. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, pull it 5, 6, 7, 8, release it 1, 2, 3, 4. Does that make sense? Okay, so from there, that I do, depending on the class, if it's like for the little kids, for their jazz class, we do 8 reps with them. No, to be honest, 6 reps will warm you up. I do 12 in my classes because I'm working for that flexibility and working for the control of that envelope, if that makes sense, okay? From there, because I kept it parallel, I'm working more the middle part of the hamstring, okay? So now, you're gonna take the leg and you're gonna cross it over here a bit, keep it parallel. Now, when they do this, watch they don't lift this hip. It's about the leg crossing over. And I tell them, act like you're pushing somebody off your hip. So we're gonna do the same thing and pump it. Go, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, and 6. You feel it different? Yeah. 7 and 8. So now, yeah, you feel it more? So here again, put your leg down just for a second. All right, when the kids do a fan kick, what do? They have to cross it over, and before it gets to their height, they start the rotation, it gets here, they come in a la seconde. All right there is that stretch. So we have to make sure we're not just stretching that hamstring in the middle part. We have to go on the outside, on the inside of it, if that makes sense, okay? So now after she does that, come again, we're gonna put the rope back on, okay? Now, for this one, sorry. Okay, for this one, the counts are gonna go, she's gonna push 2 counts over. She's gonna go 1, 2, then she's gonna bring it up 3, 4. Now you pull with this arm though, because I still want your hand here. So now pull it, 5, 6, 7, 8, envelope, 1, 2, 3, 4, back over. Okay. Does that make sense? So go again, push it 90 degrees over. 1, 2, so make sure that knee is stretched. Bring it up, 3, 4 with your muscles. Now pull it, tailbone going, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now bring it back over, envelope, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I'll do 4 of those up to 6. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, then from there, we end up going to the other side, okay? Now, let me come back over. Now we're gonna go turned out, okay? So, you're gonna now pump it in a turned out position. So same thing, go. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, and 7, and 8. Make sense? Bring it down, flex it. Now, wrap this, twist it, bring it on the inside, bring it in. Now, she's going to bring this up, really pull that tailbone, all this stays, check the shoulders. Now, the first thing, I want you to relax though, because I want you to pull the IT band first without the quads. Pull it, that's count 1. Now, count 2. Try to activate the hamstring through the calf. That's count, no, that was 1, this is 2. Count 3. You're going to pull the IT band again and lift that up and keep the turn up position. That's 3. You'll pass through on 4, really pull that tailbone, get it out of the socket. Okay, now, other arm again, hand here. Now, so now you can tug the rope. 5, 6, 7, 8, bring it back down. 1, 2, when it passes through here, get it out of the socket. Bring it down 3, disengage on 4. Because I'm trying to make them engage that leg with that quad lengthened out instead of mohawked up. So once it mohawks up, unless you disengage it, you're not gonna fix it. So that's why, disengage on 4, do it again. So it's 1, under 2, lift, pull it, IT band again, 3, go 4, keep the pinky toe out, you feel that, so to help hold that rotation, come here, and you feel that, working that hamstring different. Yeah. All right, after I do that, so again, we'll do those reps, I'm gonna make you sickle your foot, turn the leg in, now I'm stretching your IT band and your peroneal tendon, which we already worked earlier, trying to get that balance happening. Does that make sense? So we'll hold that for a couple seconds. I do like 2 to 3 reps, bend it, and then we do one other thing, pull it again. Now, pull it that way and you pull your leg back and cause resistance. Ooh, it doesn't feel good. Does that make sense? Okay, bend it. All right, detailed notes. Detailed completely. Does that make sense?